Hello, I'm Julie. I'm still reading to you from Grimm's original fairy tales. Today's selection is The 12 Huntsmen. Let's get started. There was once a king's son who was betrothed to a maiden whom he loved very much. When he was sitting beside her, he was very happy. News, however, came to him that his father lay sick unto death, and desired to see him once again before his end. He said to his beloved, I must now go and leave thee. I give thee a ring as a remembrance of me. When I am king, I will fetch thee, return thee to me. So he rode away, and when he reached his father, the latter was dangerously ill and near his death. The father said to him, Dear son, I wish to see thee once again before my end. Promise me to marry as I wish. And he named a certain king's daughter who was to be his wife. The son was in such trouble that he did not think what he was doing, and he said, Yes, dear father, your will shall be done. And thereupon the king shut his eyes, and he died. When therefore the son had been proclaimed king, and the time of mourning was over, he was forced to keep that promise which he had given his father, and he caused the king's daughter to be asked in marriage, and she was promised to him. Well, his first betrothed heard of this, and fretted so much about his faithlessness that she nearly died. And her father said to her, Dearest child, why art thou so sad? Thou shalt have whatever thou wilt. She thought for a moment and said, Dear father, I wish for 11 girls exactly like myself, in face, figure, and size. The father said, If it be possible, thy desire shall be fulfilled. And he caused a search to be made in his whole kingdom. 11 young maidens were found who exactly resembled his daughter in face, figure, and size. When they came to the father's daughter, she had 12 suits of huntsmen's clothes made, all alike. And the 11 maidens had to put on the huntsman's clothes, and she put on the 12th suit. Thereupon she took leave of her father and rode away with them, and rode to the court of her former betrothed, whom she loved so dearly. Then she inquired if he required any huntsmen, and if he would take on the whole of them into his service. The king looked at her, did not know her, but as they were such a handsome group of fellows, he said yes, and that he would willingly take them. And now they were the king's 12 huntsmen. The king, however, had a lion, which was a wondrous animal, for he knew all concealed and secret things. And it came to pass that one evening the lion said to the king, Thou thinkest thou hast 12 huntsmen? Yes, said the king, they are 12 huntsmen. The lion continued, Thou art mistaken. They are 12 girls. The king said, That cannot be true. How wilt thou prove that to me? Oh, just let some peas be strewn in the antechamber, answered the lion, and then thou shalt soon see. Men have a firm step, and when they walk over the peas, none of them will stir, but the girls will trip and skip and drag their feet, and the peas will roll about. The king was well pleased with this counsel, and he caused those peas to be strewn about. There was, however, a servant of the king who favored these huntsmen, and when he heard that they were going to be put to the test, he went to the girls and repeated everything and said, "The lion wants to make the king believe you are girls." Then the king's daughters thanked him and said to her maidens, "Put on some strength and step firmly down on those peas." Well, the next morning, when the king had the 12 huntsmen called before him, they were called into the antechamber where the peas were indeed lying. They stepped so firmly on them and had a strong, sure footwork that none of the peas rolled or stirred. They went away again, and the king said to the lion, "Thou hast lied to me. They walk like men." The lion said, "They have got to know that they were being put to the test. They have assumed some strength. Just let 12 spinning wheels be brought to the antechamber some day. They will go to them and be pleased with them. That is what no man would want to do." Well, the king liked this advice, and he had the spinning wheels placed in the antechamber. But the servant, who was well disposed to the huntsmen, went to the girls and disclosed this project. And when they were all alone, the king's daughter said to the 11 girls, "Oh, put on your constraint. Do not look at those spinning wheels." The next morning, when the king had the huntsmen summoned, they went to the antechamber. They never looked at those spinning wheels. The king again said to the lion, "Thou hast deceived me. They are men. They never looked at those spinning wheels." The lion replied, "They have learnt that they have been put to the test. They have restrained themselves." The king, however, would no longer believe his lion. The 12 huntsmen always followed the king to the chase, and his liking for them continually increased. Now it came to pass that once when they were out hunting, news came to the king's betrothed that the king's betrothed was approaching. When the true bride heard that, it hurt her so much that her heart was almost broken, and she fell fainting to the ground. The king thought something had happened to his dear huntsman. He ran up to him, her, wanting to help him, and drew his gloves off. And then he saw that ring which he had given to his first bride. When he looked in her face, he recognized her, and his heart was so touched that he kissed her. And when she opened her eyes, he said, "Thou art mine, and I am thine, and no one in the world can alter that." He sent a messenger to the other bride and entreated her to return to her own kingdom, for he had a wife already, and a man who has just found an old dish does not require a new one. Thereupon the wedding was celebrated, and the lion again was taken into favor, because, after all, he had told the truth. So ladies, remember, don't trip on the peas, and don't let yourself be swayed by the spinning wheels, I guess. Have a good day. Grimm's Fairy Tales, The 12 Huntsmen. Bye-bye.